Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tim Miller, and my pronouns are he and him. On behalf of this congregation, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Native tribes. Whether you have joined us online or you are here in our sanctuary, we are glad to have you with us in this sacred time we choose to be together. Our congregation is served by our minister, the Reverend Jamie Simon, who is available for pastoral care or to answer questions about Unitarian Universalism. She may be reached at minister@uuch.org. If you are a newcomer, please sign our guest book in the foyer to receive our weekly email newsletter. Please take a moment to silence your electronic devices. I think I have mine silenced already, but yeah. I didn't do it this morning, it was already done. But don't silence yourself or the people around you. The joyful and not so joyful noises of children and adults are always welcome here. If you have a joy, sorrow, or important milestone that you would like shared during our circle of candles and included in the pastoral prayer, please write it on one of the white cards found in the pew rack, the hymnal rack in front of you, and place it in the offering basket. For community news and events, check our email newsletter, website, and the announcement section in your order of service. In the order of service, note that there is a congregational meeting, our annual meeting in 2 weeks after church, and church that day is going to be kind of early, so we won't have to stay real late. Also, one that's not in there is we always need people to sign up to fill our little food pantry out here, and there is a link to the to signing up in the newsletter. If you have any questions, see Gail Williams, who's there, and she's going to stand up and wave. There she is. I could tell she was not happy with me telling her to do that. After our service today, everyone is welcome to join us in the fellowship hall for a potluck lunch. If it's your first visit or you forgot to bring a dish, join us anyway. You can bring something next month, and we always have plenty of food. Now, I would like to invite Ruthie to come up. Oh, we're going to do Taylor Shower Up first. Sorry, Ruthie. Well, we might as well do it. You want to do it? Go ahead and do it. You're already up here, so. Yeah, I didn't have the right order. Thank you, Ruthie. So, you may notice in the announcements that the first Sunday of each month, we share our plate donations with a local charity, and we have a representative of the one that we're sharing with today, and that is Shower Up Huntsville, and Taylor Reed is here to talk to us about that.
Thank
you so much for allowing me to be here and for sharing your plate with us as a nonprofit. We rely completely on donations from the community to do everything that we do, so this is tremendous help for us. What we are is we're a mobile nonprofit, so we travel around the community completely mobile. We're on wheels, and we serve those in need with showers, laundry, and hygiene resources. Primarily those we serve are the homeless community, those experiencing homelessness. That might be people living on the streets, living under a bridge. Maybe they're living in a tent. Maybe they're living in a car. But if you don't have a home, you don't have a shower. And that's something that a lot of people don't think about. You think about food, but all of us want to take a shower, right, and feel good and feel human. And so that's what we do. We go directly to them, meet them where they are, no questions asked, no requirements. Everyone's welcome to simply get clean. And people can come to us with nothing, and we're going to provide them everything that they need to get clean. That's a towel, a washcloth, soap, shampoo, conditioner, anything that you might use in your daily routine. We're going to provide that to people free of charge and let them take a shower. And why do I do what I do? It's because time and time again, I see so many people they walk into that shower, and they're carrying so much weight and dirt and shame. And I've met people who have gone weeks, gone months. I even met a gentleman who went an entire year right here in Huntsville without taking a shower. They walk in one person, but then time and time again, something miraculous happens under that water, and it's more than just soap and water, but they walk out feeling rejuvenated, full of life, full of hope, ready to do whatever it is they need to do that day. And the most common thing we hear people say is, I feel human again. And that's what it's all about. We want everyone to just have the basic human dignity of being able to take a shower and get clean. Since we started this in May of 2020 here in Huntsville, we've provided over 29,000 showers to people right here in our community. Thank you. That's more than just a number. That's 29,000 times someone had the opportunity to feel seen, to feel loved, to know that they were cared for, know that they were beautifully created and that they have a purpose and that they're valued. And that's what we do for each and every person. We want to restore dignity, restore hope in their lives. Another thing we just recently added this past year was mobile laundry. The most common question we got was, do you have any clean clothes that I can put on? So we have a mobile laundromat that travels around, and we're able to wash people's clothes. Not just hand them clothes that have been donated, but they can wash their clothes. I see some beautiful outfits in here and some bright colors. We all have our favorite outfit. What if you can never wear that because you didn't have any way to wash it? Well, they can have their own style. They can dress the way they want to. They can bring their clothes to us, and our volunteers are going to wash their clothes, dry their clothes, and hand it back to them folded. And that means so much. And we've done 9,000 loads of laundry since we started. It's just a beautiful opportunity to serve people in need in our community. And 3 quick stories of 3 real people that I want to share with you. The first is Andrew. I've seen Andrew carry a double amputee up on his shoulder and let them take a shower. I've seen Andrew trim toenails of a lady who had Parkinson's because she couldn't do it on her own. I've watched him shave a beard off of a man who had no arms. Andrew did all this not as an employee, but somebody who was waiting on his own shower. Andrew would show up early. He would help me set up, roll out the hoses. He would stay late. And it came time to where we needed to hire an employee in Huntsville. So Andrew is our one employee. It's all other volunteers. So Andrew has a full-time job. He drives our mobile units around town. He sets up. He loves the people who've gone through a situation just like him. He slept under the I-565 bridge for 7 years here in Huntsville. He would set his alarm for 3 a.m. because that's what time the sprinklers went off at Big Spring Park. He would grab a bar of soap and he'd go take a bath in the park. But now he's able to get showers with Shower Up. But actually now he was able to get a home. He has a job. And he says he found his purpose loving others who oftentimes feel like they're overlooked and unlovable. And so that's a beautiful story. Another story is John and Kayla. John and Kayla were a young couple. They took showers with us for 3 years. They got pregnant on the streets of Huntsville. Obviously, the streets is nowhere to have a baby. One of our volunteers was able to foster that child. John and Kayla continued to come back time and time again, getting showers, getting clean, until they finally came back one day and said, we got a job. They finally came back one day and said, we got a house. We don't need showers anymore. And then I'll never forget the day they walked back with their young daughter. They're now raising their baby girl together. They've got a home. They've gotten through the system. And they told me a quote, and it said, because of Shower Up, we feel clean, we are clean, and now our angel, that's their daughter's name, knows us nothing other than clean. And that story is about why we do what we do. And then the last story is just from a couple months ago when we started our laundry ministry with mobile laundry going around town. A young mother, single mom, came up to us. She was in tears. She grabbed 2 bags of clothes out of the back of her car, and it was little pink outfits. She had 2 daughters that were in elementary school, and she said, I feel like a bad mom because they're going to school in dirty clothes. She said, what my daughters don't know is that I can either pay to keep gasoline in the car so the air condition can be on at night because they slept in the back of their car, or she said I could pay to go to a laundromat and wash their clothes. You can obviously realize what decision she had to make. They had to go to school in dirty clothes. So she was in tears knowing that people who volunteer who didn't know her we're taking her clothes and washing them and giving back to her for her girls. That's why we do what we do. That's what your donations are going to go towards today, to help moments like that happen, help moments like that possible. And we are a faith-based organization, and it's the faith of the people who started Shower Up why they believe we should do what we do. And they're not going to throw a Bible at somebody. They're not going to try to convert somebody. They're going to love people like they believe Jesus loved people and love all people, and that's the way we treat others. And that's why I do what I do, because every single person deserves to be loved. And so thank you for taking the opportunity for me to share with you about Shower Up. Shower grace, hope, and love. That's our motto. If you want to join us, we have volunteer opportunities every day during the week as well as weekends. You're welcome to come out as an individual or as a group. We love to have groups come out, and you can serve firsthand, hands-on, loving members of our community who need love so much. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
And now we'll have our music for centering by Thomas, and after which we will sing the thread song, which is 1023 in the teal.
Good morning once again, friends. Welcome in. My name is Reverend Jamie Simon. My pronouns are she and her, and it is my privilege each week to welcome you here to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. As we gather in this morning, as we reconnect in community, we light our chalice flame, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. I invite you to help me light this flame this morning we have a responsive reading from Tess Bomberger that offers us these words, and you'll respond to each phrase by saying together, tending the flame, lighting the way together. Can we practice that? Tending the flame, lighting the way together. Beautiful, you've got it. In such stormy times, our own lights may waver or at times even go out, so we gather around the flaming chalice, the symbol of our faith, to kindle our flames once more. Tending the flame, lighting the way together. As siblings on this journey, we warm one another with our care, our tears, our laughter, sharing moments of comfort and celebration. Tending the flame, lighting the way together. Sometimes we carry another through hard times, across deserts, and sometimes we are carried with others to light the way. Tending the flame, lighting the way together. We encourage one another to grow, feeding our spiritual lives and strengthening the bonds of our beloved community. Tending the flame, lighting the way together. We watch and help our children grow into thoughtful youth and inspiring young adults who take our values with them into the world. Tending the flame, lighting the way together. We find ways to work together to create a better world where everyone can shine in the ways of their own brilliance.
Tending the flame, lighting the way together.
None of us can do this alone. This living, this being in the world, we know that we need one another, especially in such stormy times. Tending the flame, lighting the way together. So we gather to kindle one flame, which sometimes rekindles our own. We gather to tend it so that it may light our own way and brighten the path for others. All together, tending the flame, lighting the way together. Now will you please rise in body or rise in spirit to join us in our opening hymn. It's in this gray silver hymnal. It's number 360. Here we have gathered. Let's sing together. Friends, it is our tradition to keep on singing with our doxology in English and in Spanish, and then to speak our words of aspiration. And when we get there, we turn toward each other in the center aisle and face one another to speak these words as words of promise in community. Let's sing. This church, may the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. And now I'd like to invite forward Jessaliah, our Director of Religious Education, as well as any children in the audience who might want to come forward for our story. Come on up, friends.
Good morning. So this week is the first week of what month? Who knows? Pride Month, yeah. So to get us started, we're going to start with a little guided meditation. And this meditation is called Rainbow Light. So find a comfortable way to sit, like settle yourself in. You can close your eyes if that feels good, or just rest them softly on one spot. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Let's take another breath, filling up our bodies like a balloon, and let it go gently. Imagine your body is getting warm and relaxed, like a cozy hug from someone who loves you just the way you are. Now, picture a bright, glowing red light shining in your heart. This is the color of love. Love for yourself and others. Feel it filling you up, reminding you that you are worthy of love just as you are. Take a breath and let that love shine inside you. Now, feel a warm orange light spread from your heart, filling your whole body with happiness and laughter when you dance, sing, or play with your friends. Breathe in this joyful orange glow and let it fill you with warmth and excitement. Now imagine a bright yellow light shining like the sun inside you. This is the light of your own unique spirit, the part of you that shines brightly in the world. Breathe in and let that light remind you that you are special and the world is better because of you. Now, a soft green light spreads around you like the leaves on a strong tree. This is the color of growth and kindness, the way we learn, change, and care for each other. Imagine this green light helping you grow into the person you are meant to be, full of kindness and love. Next, a calming blue light wraps around you like a gentle wave. bringing peace and understanding. This is the color of deep breaths, of listening and feeling safe. Let yourself rest in this peaceful blue light for a moment. Now, a beautiful purple light swirls around you, connecting you to something bigger, a great big love that holds all of us. This is the color of spirit, of mystery, of knowing that you are a part of something wonderful. Breathe in this light and feel it connecting you to everyone around you. Now imagine all the colors swirling together, making a big, beautiful rainbow of love inside of you and all around you. This rainbow is a part of you, and it shines everywhere you go. You are loved, you are enough, and you belong. When you are ready, take a deep breath in and gently let it out. Wiggle your fingers and toes, feeling your body waking up. And when you're ready, open your eyes and bring your rainbow light with you into the world. May we carry this rainbow of love in our heart, sharing kindness, joy, and pride with everyone we meet. Let us now sing our children out.
We are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville, a proudly inclusive spiritual community. Together, we build a broader search for meaning, a bolder form of compassion, and a braver voice for justice. At this time, we invite you to support our mission with a monetary contribution. You may donate online using the QR code on your order of service, or you may put cash or check donations in the offering baskets. Completed Circle of Candles cards, that is those white cards in front of you, should also be placed in the offering baskets as they come around. You are invited to come forward during this time and quietly drop a stone into the bowl of water here next to the ramp. In honor or in memory of what you hold in your heart. With gratitude, we now receive the offering.
Friends, will you join me now in our time of meditation, reflection, and prayer? Spirit of love, be with us in this time. Hold us as we hold in community the joys and sorrows present among us. Let us each bring to mind a place of joy that we want to send a little extra love and gratitude this week, a place of concern that needs a little extra healing. May we send our love that way. This morning we have joys to share in our community. Gail and Howard Williams share in joy that their son Owen, who swore he'd never get married, got married Friday to his long-term partner Michelle. We're so happy for them. You may remember him from years ago here at UUCH. Congratulations, Owen and Michelle. We wish you well. A joy is shared this morning for Jeremy Neal Sanders, who is no longer suffering. He made his transition tonight around midnight. Joy for peace coming to him and to all those who have loved him and will be touched by this loss. We hold you in that. Ruthie Lamity McSherry shares a very exciting joy. I am 6. I turned 6 on Thursday. Make it a point to wish Ruthie a happy birthday when you see her. And I'd like to share a joy this morning. Will and I are very thrilled to announce that our nephew, Liam James Lambert, was born on Wednesday. He's beautiful and very loved, and mom and baby are healthy and doing well. We're very excited. Joy surrounds us in this time, though we know there is much sorrow in the world, much suffering, so many places in need of our care. And yet, when held in community, we find our burdens lightened, our joys enlarged, our spirits lifted. What a blessing it is to be together. Let us sing in response to these joys and sorrows our responsive hymn. It's number 1009 in that teal hymnal. If you need it, we'll sing it together 3 times. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Friends, I like to say that Unitarian Universalism is not a creedal faith, but a covenantal one. A covenant invites relationship. These words by Reverend Lisa Ward remind us of this truth of who we are, that how we are together is the theology we share. A covenant is not a definition of a relationship, it is the framework for our relating. A covenant leaves room for chance and change. It is humble toward evolution. It claims this: I will abide with you in this common endeavor, be present as best as I can in our becoming. This calls for a level of trust, courage, and sacrifice that needs to be nurtured, renewed, and affirmed on a regular basis. A creed creates a static truth, something that does not incorporate new insights and realities. A covenant is a dance of co-creation, keeping in step with one another in the flow of our lives. A creed seeks uniformity and a unison voice. A covenant seeks harmony, a shared voice. Sometimes we may arrive at a unison, but it is not required. A creed gives authority to the statement, while a covenant gives authority to the shared intention. A creed creates an us and a them. A covenant invites relationship. A creed is a prescription that must be relied on. A covenant relies on the treasures of shared truth. The overall trust within this covenant is in the truth that something which no one person can fully see, yet something which each and every person can come to know in glimpses, in another's story, in epiphanies. Truth is ever changing in our seeking to understand. Because of our limited perspectives, we grow into a deeper sense of the meaning of all things when we take our journey seriously with full heart and mind. The courage within covenant is in the acceptance and celebration of life, with all of its challenges, pain, ironies, and joys. And the sacrifice within this covenant is in the letting go of dogma, of assumptions, of control, and giving over to a greater wisdom, which comes to us in bits and pieces. The task of this covenant is to take responsibility for the freedom we choose. We know that we are interconnected and that what we do creates ripples of hope or ripples of despair, of affirmation or negation. What we do with and for one another is powerful beyond our imagining. Our choir will now offer you a piece we've been working on called We Shall Be Known. We shall be known by the company we keep. Let us enjoy this anthem from our choir. Beloveds, it is true that we shall be known by the company we keep and by the ways that we keep that company, by the way we live in community and honor that which exists between us. The poet Chana Block writes, "What's between us often seems flexible as the webbing between forefinger and thumb. It seems flexible, but it's not. What is between us is made of clay. Like any cup on the shelf, it shatters easily. Repair then becomes the task. We glue the wounded edges with tentative fingers. Scar tissue is visible history, the cup more precious to us because we had to save it." Friends, what is between us is fragile and liable to shatter. Between us are our relationships and our covenants that we make and break and make again. And it is the work of minding that which exists between us that will lead us all to collective flourishing. Last week, as I spoke about artificial intelligence, I talked about my concerns about AI models that people please and encourage people not to take responsibility for their actions, to see themselves as above critique, because of how that inclination runs against the foundation of covenant that is so crucial to who we are as Unitarian Universalists. I remind you that covenants are the foundation of our faith. They are the promises that we make to each other about how we will exist in this community, how we will show up in the flawed truth of who we are, and as Prentice Hemphill says, how we will protect the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Covenant is how we get to honor the individual and the community with space and care. And it is through covenant that we as a congregation are able to cultivate healthy relationships with good boundaries and good process for healing and reconciliation when in our too human ways we fall short of who we are called to be. That is, covenant is how we flourish. Like most Unitarian Universalist communities within our association, we have a written covenant. We have one affirmed by the congregation. It's on our website. And we have other covenants that we make in smaller spaces, in RE classrooms, in soul circles, at committee meetings that guide the relationships we have in our community. But the practice of covenant is one that is much older. In fact, covenant as we know it here, the promises that we make and write and break and return to together, this kind of covenant is the adaptation and evolution of this concept of covenant that's been happening over and over again for thousands of years. It's a story that's probably too long to go into now, but here's my 5-minute incomplete history of covenant for you. So the first covenants that we hear about are made in the Hebrew Bible, those initial 24 books that are the Jewish scriptures. And in these first covenants, instead of being a mutual set of promises between people, these are covenants made between people and God. And it starts with the story of Noah. Noah was living in a time when humanity was out of right relationship, where people were acting with selfishness and hatred towards each other and not following the religious rules of the time. And God tells Noah to build an ark and to take the people and creatures 2 by 2 onto the ark so that the flood, they might survive it. And when the flood comes and washes away the rest of humanity, God brings this terrible consequence to the world, but then a rainbow appears in the sky, and that is a sign that a new covenant has been made, that humans would once again try and act in right relationship, and perhaps God wouldn't bring that kind of destruction again. And so the theme continues of humans trying to do good and follow the rules, and God reaching out to create a covenant, and it repeats over and over in the scriptures. My Hebrew Bible professor in divinity school was obsessed with these cycles and made all these elaborate charts on whiteboards about how these cycles go over and over again, first with Noah, and then in subsequent covenants made by Abraham and Moses and David. And the cycle continues of people making these covenants with God where they promise how they will treat each other and how they will pray and how they will worship, and in turn, God promises them some sort of blessing. And we've seen these cycles continue over and over again. And the point for us is that our theological ancestors in Christianity and in Judaism are part of a long history of humans in covenant with God. And at some point within that history, humans decided to take on the practice of covenant amongst themselves. If we take a huge leap forward in history to the North American colonial period, where the Unitarian and Universalist churches really come into play, we see that next step happen. When the early Puritans came to America looking to form a new type of church, they chose to gather their churches using that covenant. These first churches were created by mutual consent for mutual benefit in a time and place where survival depended on cooperation. But they were not solely formed around need. They were also reacting against an authoritarian and hierarchical model of church. The specific kinds of churches that are our predecessors in Protestant church lineage and history were organized specifically as democratic, connected organizations, all about freedom of belief and freedom to self-govern, something we call congregational polity. And that congregational polity arises because of something called the Cambridge Platform, which was written in New England by these Puritans in 1648. And it set out a structure for these churches that would eventually become churches like ours. And it defined matters of church officers and ministry and membership and cooperation. It goes like this. We pledge to walk together in the ways of truth and affection as best we know them now or may learn them in the days to come, that we and our children may be fulfilled and that we may speak to the world in words and actions of peace and goodwill. Based on this covenant, the core of the Cambridge Platform was the practice of lifting relationship over creed. Covenant above doctrine, love above rules. And churches followed this platform and practiced love and relationship as doctrine. And over time, congregations adopted new wording to reflect their own beliefs and sense in time. Eventually, those new covenants, like James Villa Blake's, love is the spirit of this church and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another, came into fashion and became cornerstones of our congregations. If that one sounds familiar, it's quite similar to our words of aspiration that we speak to each other each week. So we have, way off in our history, covenant starting as promises between God and people, and then covenant becoming the promises that organize our communities and shape the structure of what it means to be a congregation. One thing that has changed over the history of covenant was the need for mutual accountability. In any of those Hebrew Bible stories, there wasn't exactly a clear way to bring God back into right relationship, though I think maybe a flood that took out the whole world is worthy of such accountability. There wasn't a vehicle of accountability or a way to restore that relationship, but as covenants became promises between people, ways to organize community, the possibility of relational repair started to become. And we'll never know the names and stories of all our spiritual ancestors whose life work of making and breaking and remaking promises brought us all the way here to this time and this moment. But what we can know and what we can see and reflect on is what the work of covenant is asking Unitarian Universalists today. We've shared many times that in the past couple of years, the UUA voted to change the language in our bylaws that describes who we are and what we believe from the list of our 7 principles and sources to the new form, the covenant of shared values. The beginning of it starts like this. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation, and through our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. So we're asked not just to hold these values, but to live in accountability to them, to hold ourselves and each other to task for doing the work of living these values. When I think specifically about UUCH, we frame it this way in our church vision, where we say that we are called to be people who honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, welcoming new people and striving to address the physical, cultural, and societal barriers, asterisks, to genuine belonging in our community. And that asterisk then says, by physical, cultural, and societal barriers, we mean the human identities that have been basis for systemic exclusion, including race, ethnicity, religion, economic status, gender identity, sexuality, ability, neurotype, citizenship, education level, language, age, body size, relationship dynamics, family structure, criminal history. Our work is to shift our church culture so that none of those examples create a barrier to genuine belonging in our congregation. Does that make sense, friends? Do we hear that? Our work then isn't big pie in the sky out there. Our work is right here in this room, on the ground, in our relationships here with one another. Our faith is asking us to do the deep work of rooting out the biases and the systems of oppression that still exist here, even in a room that is progressive and loving and working hard to be that way. This means remembering and thinking deeply about the characteristics of things like white supremacy culture, right? We know that in a room where there are many, many white people, we unintentionally create and repeat the processes of white supremacy culture, right? Does this make sense, friends? And so we've got to think about what those characteristics are and how we can unlearn and stop practicing them. In practice, our work becomes checking when white supremacy culture is present in our spaces. It means acknowledging when we're choosing to be conflict averse. That's a piece of white supremacy culture. When we're choosing niceness of all getting along over the kindness of being honest and weathering disagreements. It means noticing when our worship of the written word means we trust the ideas of academics or the words in books more than the spoken words of people of color in our spaces. Worship of the written word is another characteristic of white supremacy culture. In practice, this looks like noticing the way urgency and timeliness is valued above process and inclusion. When I reflect in my own heart, I know that urgency is the aspect of white supremacy culture that lives deepest in my white person bones. Things need to happen on time. We need to move fast and efficiently, and that need in me, that ingrained preference, blocks me from accessing something more important, something like shared leadership, human connection. Living into our covenant means rooting out the systems of racism and white supremacy culture, and also rooting out the other similar systems of oppression that influence who and how we are. For Pride Month, I think about how it means we need to unlearn our biases and commit wholeheartedly to the practices of inclusion for that whole rainbow of LGBTQIA identities. This looks like sharing our pronouns, but not just sharing them, but also taking the practice of sharing them seriously. I've heard it happen before that someone will take the time to share their pronouns, but maybe make a bit of a joke of it, saying, "Oh, my pronouns are he, she, it, you over there." Have you heard folks do that before? Let's remember that respecting people's identity isn't a joke. It's serious business. Inclusion matters. And this covenant work also means committing wholeheartedly to inclusion of people and ideas that we might not fully understand, Part of the oppressive system ideologies like white supremacy culture is this idea that each single individual should be able to fully understand everything. But friends, we don't need to understand absolutely everything. I don't have to know what it feels like in my body to be a transgender person, to trust that transgender people are experts in their own experience and what they know is true and real, and I should just listen. I don't have to personally understand a desire for multiple partnerships in order to love and affirm families that come in different shapes and sizes, and to trust relationships that are open and ethical and filled with consent and care. I don't have to dissect and understand everything to know that people who live and love differently than me deserve my respect and care. The Reverend Marta Valentin, Professional Development Director at the UUA, writes this: "It is time to throw out our exceptional identity and humble ourselves. We Unitarian Universalists have always done good in the world. It is in our DNA. The question is, are we ready to do even better for our own people? Because the world includes every person in our faith, many of whom have been microaggressioned right out the door, a silent revolving door that many do not want to acknowledge. It is time to look at ourselves, not just in our faces, but in our souls, and ask ourselves, who are we really? Which Unitarian Universalism are we taking into the future?" Reverend Marta continues, "Let's Marie Kondo our unfaithful practices and release what no longer serves us and make room for what will. It is time now to keep this beloved faith from fracturing. Moreover, in this delicate turning, let us remember that before anything, we are human beings who have chosen to travel together, to make a new and more just world together. We must continue to choose each other as companions if we are to accompany one another into our collective flourishing." Friends, in our hands, in the space between our hands, that fragile space that stretches like a web, that can shatter like clay, this loving distance is the heart of relationship. We find ourselves sacredly connected to and through a long history of people making promises to one another that they might better love each other and love the world. On this journey, we will make some missteps. We will have some miscalculations. We will have apologies to make, repair to claim. And on this journey, we continually redefine the best ways to be in relationship with one another. Let the covenants that we share, the covenants we practice, remind us to put love at the center and accountability at the forefront, to trust relationship, to remember, friends, that we are known by the company we keep, by those who circle round with us to tend the fires and do the work of justice. In this great turning, may we learn to lead with love. Blessed be and amen. And will you rise in body or in spirit with me and sing our closing hymn? This one is 1018 in that teal hymnal. It's called Come and Go With Me. As we build community together and embrace the tough work that makes full flourishing possible for all people, will you come and go with me to that land? Let's sing.
Let us now take a moment to extinguish our chalice with these words by Rebecca Savage. Spirit of life, spirit of love, we have gathered under the banner of a shared faith. We are born of a welcoming grace that extends and receives love. We are touched by the ways we have fallen short of who we strive to be. And we here are reborn, forged by a greater courage. Let us move from this place, encouraged and refreshed for the journey ahead.
Thank you, Tim. Friends, our service has come to an end. I will be at the back of the sanctuary to greet you, and everyone, honestly, you want to go this way because we have potluck today. Woo, potluck. Once again, everyone is welcome to eat, whether you brought 10 plates of deviled eggs or 0 plates of deviled eggs. You are invited to have potluck with us, and we are so grateful to share this meal with you. Let's go out once more with this reminder. Go out into the world reminded that who we are is how we love one another. May we be committed to the practices of relationship that change the world and change ourselves a little bit each day. May we flourish together. Amen. Blessed be, and let's go out singing our rite of community. That's on that golden sheet in your pew back. It's called May I Be Light in You. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.